So then, secondly, keeping it in the world of college football, let's talk about America's team, or as I like to call them, College Football University, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. They're the Yankees of the sport. We tune in to watch them lose. They have one of the biggest fan bases out there. They're delusional. They're still stuck in 1988 when they won their last national title. They should probably start off the season ranked top 6 or 7, maybe even top 5. So they have an inside track to make the playoff this year. But I want to look into the future. There's been all this talk about the future of the ACC. You've seen me on here before talking about how Notre Dame has the power to end the strife of the ACC, but they won't, nor should they, as much as I hate them. If they have a station out here that's willing to pay them 75 mil or somewhere in that neighborhood, putting them on the same level as the Big Ten and SEC, they'd be a fool not to take it. It's not their job to provide charity for the ACC, as they said in Joe Dirt. This ain't UNICEF. So as we look at this, there's rumors. I haven't heard it many places, but allegedly on July 12th, which is just in 10 days for those at home, there might be an announcement from those schools down in Tallahassee and down in Clemson. That's some of the word on the street. Let's say this is true. Let's just, in this scenario, we're going to say Florida State and Clemson accept a Big Ten invite. Shortly after, maybe North Carolina and Miami get an SEC invite. Whatever 4 schools you want to use, right? What does Notre Dame do? They signed this agreement in 2012 with the ACC that began in 2014 for them to play 5 ACC schools every season. Now, is it worth Notre Dame staying in this conference of Boston College, Wake Forest, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, so on and so forth, with no Florida State, Miami, Clemson, and whoever else you deem to be on that level, right? What would Notre Dame do? My answer would be go completely independent all over again, take it back. Maybe you join the Big East for basketball again and your other sports. But football, you stay independent. Why? Because Notre Dame prides themselves as national university. They don't want to be in the Big Ten, or they could have been, because they don't want to restrict themselves to the Midwest. When you go back through your college football almanacs and your databases, you will see that 5 out of the top 10 schools that Notre Dame has ever played are in the Big Ten. Pitt's in there, ACC Pitt, but they have a rivalry with Stanford. They have a rivalry with USC, who is now in the Big Ten, right? That rivalry, according to people like Colin Cowherd, should be on the chopping block. I fully, vehemently disagree, but I saw Texas and A&M go away. Kansas and Missouri went away, so on and so forth. But with that being said, I think I like the Big 12 as well. Notre Dame against Coach Prime. You talk about hype. For those of you that care about ratings as if you work for ABC, that would give you something to talk about. Notre Dame against Oklahoma State just 2 years ago in the Fiesta Bowl, 37-35. You know, Notre Dame would love to play Arizona and UCF for recruiting. But then again, and Houston. But then again, guess what? Notre Dame gets to be a national brand. They get to keep their USC rivalry, provided that USC doesn't think that the Big Ten is too tough. They get to play Navy every year, who they've played more than anybody else, 96 times going all the way back to World War II. So Notre Dame is going to be all right. I know most of us always lament that we want Notre Dame to join a conference. I still do. But if I was Notre Dame, I'd tell y'all to go to hell. Respectfully, of course. But Notre Dame could open up their schedule. They could play schedules just like everybody else. Like, why would they go set up an agreement with the SEC and find themselves outside of the playoffs because they lost to, say, Bama and Georgia or LSU in Texas or Arkansas and whoever. The sad thing about that is that if this was the 80s or 90s, the one thing that I agree with those delusional Notre Dame fans on is Notre Dame always wants to play the best, play like a champion today. But at the end of the day, it's all business.